every week. Catch it freshest on your TV. Field level football, Quan, Pat, and CT. On the field running plays for the 3P. And we shine lights, camera action when you see the team. Pick 6 touchdown when I got the ball. And if you think you in my league, tell them knock it off. Money calling every day and I just got the call. Reduction over projection, it's in us, we just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball.
What's going on? Good evening. It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. I'm Pat. That's Quan. That's CT. 2 Niners and a Raider clocking in. How my guys doing tonight?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good, ready to go. I know y'all are, so let's get to it.
CT, what's going on with you, big boss, man?
Oh, cool, bro. How y'all doing?
Cooling. Hey, man, week 1 is now in the books. It's over with. The conclusion of week 1 just went down, just happened. And it was a lot of great things that happened. I'm excited. I'm like, let's jump right into it. Miles is already starting. He like, hey, yo, Quan is juice. With that being said, because it's the freshest, because it's the most recent, I think it's only right we talk about that Raider game. We all picked the Raiders to win this game. We all picked it relatively close. I think Quan, you kind of was like y'all was gonna blow them out or something like that. But we all picked a relatively close game, and that is what we got, right? The Raiders go into overtime and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson fumbles late. The Raiders respond and go out there. Was going to kick the field goal. What's up? I'll be right with you. Was going to kick the field goal, and ended up. Why do they ring the doorbell? DoorDash never rings the doorbell. And all of a sudden,
that's the opportunity knocking for the Raiders.
Anyway, there we go. We're gonna use it as such. But anyway, Lamar Jackson fumbles late. Nassib with the great rush came inside move of Tyson Williams, gets the sack, forced fumble. Then what happens is that the field goal team trots out. I'm just giving a quick synopsis. The field goal team trots out to kick the field goal, and they catch a delayed game. Well, that forces John Gruden to put the Raiders offense back on the field. Derek Carr drops back on the run, rolling right, backwards, off the back foot, throws a deep ball to Zay Jones, who goes in for the win. I have to say this, though, Quan, before I jump it over to you. I'm excited tonight. I might be a 3% Raider fan tonight. Keeping it a buck. 3% for sure.
Is this gonna last past tonight?
Oh no. No, not at all.
Okay.
This is
you gotta sleep it off.
Hey, look, this is the pinnacle of it all. But anyway, I want to say in that fourth quarter, I tweeted in the fourth quarter, follow me at the Field Level Pat on Twitter. Follow the Field Level 1 on Twitter. No, Field Level on Twitter. I tweeted, well, hello, Bryan Edwards. You talked about this guy, Quan. Mm-hmm. And it was funny to hear the announcer say that in the building, in that Las Vegas Raider organization, a lot of the coaches feel like Bryan Edwards is better than Henry Ruggs, mm-hmm. and will have a better career than Henry Ruggs. Bryan Edwards came up huge for the Raiders late. Was the reason that they were in contention to win that game. 2 huge catches with 30 seconds left on the clock, 2 huge catches to get him into field goal range. Comes back in overtime and pretty much put them in a position to win the game. Then the Raiders did what they did there late and kind of, pushed themselves out of the 1 yard line to win the game. But I think that Bryan Edwards showed up today, big, late, in crunch time, and said, "Welcome, I'm here. We don't need to find a number one. I'm him. We don't need to wait on Henry Ruggs. I'm here." And I have to commend him for what he did. I think that he did a lot of great things. How about John Abram late on that breakup against Mark Andrews? What a play by him to get the ball out. That would have gave them a first down. that causes that fourth down play where, or the third down play where Lamar Jackson fumbled. So great job today overall by the Raiders. Great job by Derek Carr late. He worried me a bit early. I thought he was kind of erratic in some of his throws. Some of his placement was a little bit off. But then some of those receivers weren't helping him. Willie Snead with a huge drop at the end that, went to the interception. But great job by Derek Carr late. I give kudos to where kudos is due.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start this way, right? We'll start on the Bryan Edwards. I've been talking him up, I'd say the past 2 years. Last year he dealt with injuries. Bryan Edwards, to me, could be better than Henry Ruggs sooner than later. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Henry Ruggs. I just think when you look at
how good Bryan Edwards can be.
It's how good he can be. He has everything you could want. You heard how Coach Gruden talked him up and said he reminds him of a young T.O. Well,
wow.
that play that we almost scored on to win the game, that's a T.O. kind of a play.
Right.
All those big catches that he had, and all his catches came in the fourth quarter. So I will say this, though. I think John Gruden, you know how last year I was saying John Gruden needs to change his offense a bit. I think he needs to do that sooner than later because, and I was telling my son this as we're watching the game, in the fourth quarter, you started seeing Derek Carr check to like simple routes, like, hey, little quick hitches. He started seeing the DBs playing way off, quick hitches, boom to Edwards, boom to Ruggs. He should have been doing that all game. Instead, he does it later and then, finds out it works later. He should have been doing that before. I think that's the way you need to get them because right now, you can tell the way our offense is. It's Waller, Renfro, check it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's not a good way of utilizing all the weapons you have. But, we got the win. Henry Ruggs came up big with a big catch to kind of swing the momentum.
You had to. Go ahead.
So he played well. Darren Waller does what Darren Waller does. He's virtually unguardable with a safety, a linebacker. He did have a drop. But he also didn't muff an onside kick like Kittle, but we won't get into that.
I knew that was coming. That's why I was like, Pat,
yes.
wait.
Hey, I'm here for it, bro.
Hey man, I can't laugh too hard, man. I'm getting over a little flu.
Don't tell nobody that. Go ahead.
I'm COVID negative. Anyway, but I will say this. Hopefully this isn't a long-term issue. Josh Jacobs came into the game with an illness that wasn't COVID. And he's been dealing with a toe injury.
Toe issue, yeah.
A toe issue all training camp. So you could tell he wasn't himself. He gave us what he had. He did score a touchdown. He gave us what he had. Kenyon Drake had the juice. I think next week, if he's not ready, because we're on a short week, I say just ice him for a game. Let Kenyon Drake beat the load. And then we'll get Josh Jacobs healthy for the long run. But I'm very happy with Derek Carr. People have been hating on Derek Carr in the Raiders fan base, outside of the Raiders fan base. Derek Carr, to me, is right on the borderline, and because I'm a Raider fan, I'm not gonna say it. I don't want people to say I'm a homer. On the
borderline of what,
bro? He's borderline top 10, bro. I'm telling you. Look at the way he plays. He commands the offense. He does what he needs to do, and he throw. I don't know what else he needs to do. And last thing, CT, I want you to take it away. Our defense was the biggest issue. Our offense has been top 10 the past 2 years under Gruden. Defense has been the issue. Defense stepped up today. They stepped up big today. 2 turnovers. And if it wasn't for the defense being on the field the whole first half, basically, the score would have probably been less than 24 for the Ravens. But I'll carry it over to you, CT.
First of all, congrats. I did pick you guys, Vegas Raiders, to win this week. Definitely after hearing the news about some of the running backs that went down, 3 running backs specifically for the Ravens. Added Devontae Freeman and added Latavius Murray, who played today and scored a touchdown. This was the Lamar show. Lamar was going to have to do everything for this team to stay in it, to stay competitive, and he did that for the most part. Sammy Watkins emerged a little bit, Marquise Brown a little bit with the touchdown. Defensively, they're hurting. Not having their leaders, Marcus Peters, not having what's their other corner? He's been around for a long time. Jimmy Smith.
Derek Wolf was also out. Yep.
And a lot of injuries that are impactful for them. So this was a great opportunity to smell blood and for the Raiders to take advantage of it. And if they didn't, then you would be exactly where people perceived you to be, right? But if you take that step, I'm gonna shout out the Cincinnati Bengals for winning against Minnesota. That was huge. If you take that next step, that shows that you might be ready to take on a little bit more this season. We've always on this show lived by the mantra, Josh Jacobs has to get 20 to get it. He only had 10. And obviously because of his illness and whatnot, but only had 10, and you guys still pulled it out. Carr played his butt off for the most part. Not too many sacks, 3 sacks overall. So, kept him pretty upright. Darren Waller, he's a boy. A lot of targets, though, and only 10 catches. So they got to figure out how to make that easy for him. And I think it has a lot to do with what you said. The check down game and the short game, the quick hitches and things like that. Get him involved in that way and get him in space because that boy can move. Edwards came up big, like Pat mentioned. Renfrow is so consistent. His routes are crispy. He puts you guys in good circumstances.
Renfrow, baby.
I mean,
I hate it.
I feel some type of way because Trent Taylor should have been there, but he ain't. So Renfrow, I got to shout him out for that. I'm not a huge Kenyon Drake guy, but for you guys, I think that he's a good utility player, can catch the ball out the backfield and do a few things for you guys.
He sucks.
He did good. No.
He sucks.
He sucks if you have him as your lead back.
It's terrible.
Hey,
and then defensively, Denzel Perryman, that's my guy. Always loved him. And I see some growth from this team. Not exactly where you need to be, but you got some pressure on the quarterback, which has been a huge concern. Work on some tackling a little bit, but overall, I'm impressed, man. So shout out to the Raiders today.
No doubt about it. I will say this, Quan. You tell me what you think about it. This is just my personal opinion, and I know that my personal opinion means nothing in the world of the Las Vegas Raiders. But let me say this, man. I felt as though early on, we talked about Darren Waller and the targets. I felt like early on, it was too forced to Darren Waller. I felt like they were overly trying to get him the ball, which took early the Henry Ruggs out of the game, the Bryan Edwards out of the game. It was more so like it just felt to me that like they were running clear out routes, trying to get the ball to Waller. And I feel like you guys actually have some young dogs that can ball out there at receiver. You got to get those guys involved. I know that all Raider Nation is in love with Darren Waller, and Darren Waller is the be-all, end-all, and Darren Waller is fighting to be the number 1 tight end in the league. These all might be true facts, but you got to get those other guys involved because then you don't find yourself in these positions late in the game. If Bryan Edwards would have been involved in the first quarter of this game, second quarter of this game, this is speaking hyperbole, but at the end of the day, I just feel like maybe we're not in overtime. Maybe we're in a position where he's made plays all game. He's been hot. He's continually done some things. He's opened up, pulled coverage away. Now Henry Ruggs is open. He's pulling coverage deep. Now Hunter Renfrow is open underneath. And then Waller gets involved a little bit more. But I feel like for some odd reason, Chucky is just getting into position where he's just forcing Darren Waller the ball early. And I get it, but then I don't get it at the same time. One thing I will say as well is that I feel like when games are getting late and in crunch time, Quan, you mentioned this, and you're absolutely correct. Derek Carr was calling the plays in the huddle, and you've seen it. Like he was getting the call in, and he was like putting his hand over, like, nah, I got it, right? And I think it was a testing to see it all kind of came together from my understanding when you guys got that delay of game late. Like, what are we doing? Like, John Gruden, it just feels like he's kind of inconsistent or not really sure at times what to do in crunch moments where Derek Carr just kind of have to say, look, Johnny, I got this, B. What do you feel about that? Do you feel like you guys are forcing Darren Waller a little too much early? Do you guys feel like, we need to put more of the offense in Derek Carr's hands?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't disagree at all. They were definitely forcing it to Waller, which we shouldn't have been doing. And like I said earlier, I want to say it was first or second quarter, Derek Carr had changed the play, and he spread the field out, and he got ready to call it, and he saw the corners back off. So he checks again, and he goes like this, and then it was four. Jacobs was on the outside, Ruggs was in the slot, and then I think Edwards and probably somebody else was on the other side, and everybody just ran everybody 5-yard hitches. And he threw it to Jacobs all the way on the outside because there was a linebacker guarding him. He should have threw it to Ruggs, but nonetheless, that's what we should be doing more. We should have more of that kind of offense in our game plan. Quick hitches, quick slants, things like that to get our players on the outside the ball. Because right now, you could just look at our offense. Ruggs is only getting the ball on crossing routes and deep routes.
Yeah.
Edwards didn't get no targets until the fourth quarter. Actually, he got one target on a jump ball in the first half. And other than that, everything he got was in the fourth quarter and beyond. So I just think Gruden needs to go back, look at the film, and either institute some plays that are easy throws for Carr to get that other guys involved, or just like you said, let Derek Carr kind of control what he wants to do, because you can't just call Waller plays all day, because if Waller's not open, then you're just gonna check it down. Well, use your other options. And real quick, you mentioned I forgot what you said, but Willie Snead's getting cut tomorrow on their offense.
hey, all right. So last couple things here, because I really enjoyed that game, and if I'll be honest with you guys, easily game of the week for me. Easily game of the week.
Yeah, other than that Chiefs game, but yeah, this
I still call this game of the week, even when you put it up against the Chiefs Browns. I still call this game of the week. But my issue was this, and this is just kind of reiterating and pushing home my point that I'm trying to make when I say Darren Waller had 19 targets today. Mm-hmm. Brian Edwards, Henry Ruggs, Zay Jones all had 14 less targets each than Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow was the next closest, and he was 10 behind that. So that kind of that type of discrepancy will show you what we're trying to say when we're talking about the forcing of the ball a little too often and too early.
It's almost like it needs to be reversed. Remember last year they were using Henry Ruggs to clear everybody out, and then Waller would get the one-on-one. Well, now this year they're like, well, no, we're going to double Waller and everybody else is one-on-one. So Carr needs to start taking those other opportunities, which he did with Brian Edwards. And last point, then we can move on, bro. Derek Carr, every time the Ravens went into that, when they dropped that safety and then went zero blitz, every time they did that, Derek Carr went over the top. He went over the top to Waller once, over the top to Ruggs, and then Edwards for that big play, and then Zay Jones at the end. That's what I'm talking about, elite quarterback level play, baby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was just about to say something, but it lost me. Don't you hate that? Kids, stay away from stuff when you're young. When you get older, it messes up your memory. But no, definitely hats off to the Las Vegas Raiders. What a job you guys did going out there, getting the win, 1-0 to start the season. Fans are back at the Legion. And honestly, I don't hate the Raiders. I actually like the Raiders, kind of, almost, sort of. But I do enjoy seeing the Raiders win at times. I do enjoy seeing those fans and that fan base be excited about what's going on out there in Vegas. What a time to be alive, man. Surely, good job. Let's transition
NFL's better
over.
when the Raiders are winning.
Kinda. Anyway, no one really even cares. Anyway, let's transition a bit over. Let's jump, because we said we were going to cover the games of the primetime games this week. We said we're going to cover and talk about all the big games that happened in this week. And one game that gave me cause for pause, one game that gave me a reason to kind of be like, I don't know, was that Rams-Bears game. The Bears were no slouch last year. The Bears were a playoff team last year. We know this, right? We all understand how good the Bears were on last year. But that Rams team with Matthew Stafford looks a little different. It feels a little different out there. The Rams do. I will say this. Kudos to the Bears for how they played and frustrated Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald didn't get his first sack till late in the fourth quarter. They held him pretty much under check. He had 4 quarterback hurries, 1 quarterback hit, and then the 1 sack. So they held him pretty much under check. I will say this, though. If I'm a receiver that plays for the Los Angeles Rams, I hate it there. If my name is not Cooper Kupp, if my name is not Robert Woods, if my name is not Van Jefferson, I hate it there. These dudes do not sub. It was just like something I picked up when I was watching the game. Van Jefferson and oh, that's what I wanted to say about the Raiders. Bear with me. It's my show. I can do this. It's going to be interesting to see how Darren Waller has success this year because teams know about him now. And I thought it was very interesting how Marlon Humphreys shadowed him a lot today. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if other teams start to take that same kind of philosophy and put their best guy on him and live with what the other guys do. Anyway, that was just that thought. But the Rams receivers look really, really good. Darrell Henderson Jr., whoa. Talk about stepping in. They lost Cam Akers. We understand that. We all know they lost Cam Akers early in training camp. And here comes Darrell Henderson Jr., who had a solid game. Matthew Stafford, though, definitely is a difference in that team now. You can see his presence has invigorated that team. His presence there is definitely put them over the hump, I can say. But hell, I have to say this. As a whole, the NFC West looks tough again. Like, I didn't expect the Seattle Seahawks to look like that. Kyler Murray comes out and does what he does. And then the Rams come out and do what they do. This Rams team and this conference, once again, for another year, is showing that they're head and shoulders above the rest of the conferences in the NFC. I got to give kudos to that secondary over there in Los Angeles for the Rams. They did some really good work. I do have to say this though. Justin Fields looked bored. And with him looking bored, do we have a potential problem on our hands? Do we have a potential situation where he's not going to sit back like Trey Lance and kind of just wait his time, but he's going to start to kind of cry about it? He's going to start to kind of have an issue and take issue with Andy Dalton starting over him. How did you guys feel about that Rams-Bears game?
See, you can go first.
So it's funny you bring this game up. Definitely took some notes. Definitely saw the energy was different. A player that I wasn't really high on, I don't think anybody on this pod was, Van Joseph showed out. Cooper Kupp looked good as well. Robert Woods, they didn't use him too much, but he was able to get a touchdown. You can see the balls being distributed differently. It's very methodical. And, let's not shorten or not appreciate Matthew Stafford's arm. It's evident that he's still got it. He's able to still move well. He looks like he has a different energy right now, and you can tell he's a leader. They gave him the game ball in the locker room. And McVay, I'm going to be honest,
I hate his haircut.
Yeah, I know that Jimmy Neutron look you talking about. Honestly, I'm happy for him because I can see how relaxed and how excited he is to have somebody of that caliber. And I don't think Jared Goff's a bad quarterback, but there's definitely a difference. Defensively, they're still strong. They only get better over time. So that's something to watch out for. And, they're a threat. I think as a Niner fan, we get a little over arrogant when we play them because we've had some recent success. But I'll be honest, it's going to be tough. Matthew Stafford he's had pieces, but not a defense like that. And not a coach as creative like that, except for Caldwell, because I think Caldwell was a good coach. But, he hasn't had some of those resources that he has now, which could be a problem. So, I wouldn't say that this is a walkover for them or walkover team, should I say. And then for the Bears, it's funny you bring up Justin Fields' attitude, demeanor, his presence. He seems a little overly confident, too early for me. He seems, like you said, bored, but wanting to say the right things. But, if you really, read it, bro, we don't really believe you, bro. You showing us something different. Mm-hmm. And this could be why he wasn't chosen by certain teams. Trey Lance says all the right things. Trey Lance will say, hey, I'm waiting for my number to be called. I'll just be ready. And he's getting people in his ear like a Jerry Rice saying, okay, young, go, come on. and he's sitting back like, I'm just gonna wait my turn.
Yeah.
I can't say Justin Fields will have the same answer, and it's not a knock on him, but it's just personalities and how things mesh. It's really about how you can ingratiate yourself within an organization, and it has to be the right fit. Justin Fields, the thing about his situation is it's going to be accepted anyway because the fans want him. But this team's going to struggle until they finally make that move. So sooner rather than later, if Nagy wants to keep his job.
Reginald.
In terms of Fields, the difference between him and Trey Lance right now is that Trey is saying all the right things because the guy in front of him at this point in time is better than him as we speak right now. I'm not saying more potential. Right now, he's better than him. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy also has a Super Bowl appearance on his resume.
You can't. No, you can't say that. I won't allow you to say that. I won't allow you to say that.
Hey, no, you said your opinion on
it. I will not allow you to do that. Yeah, thank you, God, for making that man call.
You said your opinion.
I'm not about to let you say
You
that.
said your opinion on the Raiders don't matter, but it's your opinion. Well, this is my opinion. And Jimmy has a bag. All those things factor into it why Trey is not in right now. But Trey does get more playing time in packages than Justin Fields gets. Justin Fields is probably bored because he don't feel like Andy Dalton is better than him at this point in time.
Who's to say Trey doesn't feel that way?
The Red Rifle?
I'm saying Trey may feel that way, but I bet you there's more people who feel like Jimmy is better than him than who feel Dalton's better than Fields.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. Anyway, in terms of the Rams, though, Matthew Stafford is going to take this offense to a whole nother level. It's just the vertical passing game that's been missing. Yeah. It's the threat. It's the threat of the deep ball. It's the threat of it. They could put Deshaun Jackson in there and just use Deshaun Jackson as a Henry Ruggs and just clear stuff out. You got to respect it because you don't want Deshaun to get loose. He can still run as old as he is. So I just think that Matthew Stafford going to this offense is going to be huge. Not to mention Tyler Higbee played great. He's going to be the unsung hero in this offense. He played great. And on defense, who's the linebacker for the Rams? I think he's number 41. Is it Kenny Young?
It was something like that, yeah.
Whoever that is, hey, he was balling. He was all over the place.
Yeah, 41 definitely jumped off the screen for sure.
Yeah, he was all over the place. So shout out to him. Not Aaron Donald, but the Justin Hollins was killing off the edge, and Jalen Ramsey doing Jalen Ramsey does all over the field, making big hits. I promise you, the next team that runs a screen pass to his side, you just need to be fired. He blows up every screen. Am I lying? I'm not lying. He's still the best DB in the league.
Nope.
And
nope. Go ahead.
Who's best?
A couple of them. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm not going to argue with you because, yeah. Anyway, Jalen Ramsey's still a top 5 DB.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
All right, cool. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that game. Yeah,
good game. Rams take it. What was that, 30-something to 20-something for sure? 30-something to 40-something. 14. Let's talk. I got a question for you guys. Because we're going to talk about this Bucks-Cowboys game. Like I said, we're talking all the primetime games. Funny thing is that this game had 108 passes in it. This game, the ball was in the air 108 times between Dak Prescott and Tom Brady. Dak ended up 42 of 58, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Got sacked 1 time. And I think Tom ended up 32 of 50, 379, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, no sacks, came out clean. But the pressing question that I have for you guys, and how about the freaking Cowboys with 2 receivers over 100? Amari Cooper, 13 for 139, CeeDee Lamb 7 for 104. On the backside of that, with the Bucks, you had Antonio Brown. Hello, welcome back. 5 for 121. Chris Godwin 9 for 105, and then Robert Gronkowski right there 8 for 90. Some really good play over there. How about this though? Question is this. This is a serious question. I won't see. I need you to answer this question first too, since you're familiar. Is Ezekiel Elliott done?
Let me get the mic so you can see it in the camera. I think he is, Pat. Thank you.
I just feel like 11 carries, 33 yards. It's not looking too good. It's not looking good at all. He needs to figure it out. And he hasn't been good for a while in my eyes. I just feel like it's been a while. He just hasn't looked really good for me personally. Tom Brady still looks like Tom Brady, but can we say hats off and can we say potential comeback player of the year for Dak Prescott?
Already?
It's early.
Dude.
I got a couple people
Dak,
I think can fit that.
Who?
I heard a couple people. We'll talk about it later.
All right, cool. We'll talk about offline. We won't, you just said it and didn't have it in your mind, so you're just saying it. But for Dak to go over 403 touchdowns, 1 interception, I just feel like he just looked good. He looked the part. Dak looked the part this week, man. And I think that if you see Dak, if he continues on this trajectory, the Cowboys are. See, I was about to say it and I couldn't even say it.
It's hard.
The Cowboys are formidable. That defense still needs a lot of work. Defense still needs a lot of work. But if Dak continues to play the way Dak has been playing, it's going to be good. Here comes Pooh on here talking about Raider Nation. Shout out to the Raiders. They got the job done. Yeah, shout out to the Raiders. Got the job done. Juanito. Okay. NFC West best division to get. How'd you guys feel about that game though?
Dallas Cowboy game. Well, I will say the defense, like you said, does need work, but they're opportunistic. I like that.
Right.
I like that they're feisty. They'll get better. You got to remember they're also in a new scheme. It's a simpler scheme, but it's still new. So you just got to give it a little bit of time. But I'm gonna add. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott is done. I just think he might be done. I think he might be done in Dallas because you're not going to give the ball to a running back to do what he does, which I'm sure you would agree. Ezekiel Elliott is one of those running backs who needs to get the ball often to get his momentum, to get going, to get his gears going. Am I right or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, no, you got that. I'll give you that.
So when you have a quarterback who's making $75 million, and you got receivers all over the board going for 1,000 yards in a season, like Cooper, CeeDee Lamb was right on the cusp of 1,000. Michael Gallup was, I think, 200 yards or shorter than 1,000 yards. You're not gonna run the ball when you got a $75 million quarterback and all of that. You're just not gonna run the ball. So I think you might.
But you have to.
What'd you say?
But you have to though, Q. Because
Talk
this
that
is
talk,
the thing. Like, look what happened to Dak last year, trying to do too much and do all that, right?
See,
and it put him in a compromised situation.
Logic, but you're speaking logic. That's
right.
not what Dallas. That's not what Dallas is doing, and that's you got to. It's like the term I know y'all heard. Follow the money. If the money's going to the quarterback, and the money's going to the receivers, and the high draft picks are going to the receivers, then we're going to throw the ball.
Zeke got a bag, bro.
He got a bag, but now look, he got the bag, and they went and they paid Cooper. They paid Cooper. They got Gallup, who, like I said, went over a damn near 1,000. CeeDee Lamb was a first-round pick. What, like, if you give Zeke the ball and let him do what he does and get 1,500, 1,600 yards, then Cooper's a bad investment.
But Quan, let's not sit here. Quan, let's not sit here. Quan, hold on, time out, because you bringing forth, you're talking this running back talk. And I feel low-key offended. Let's not act like Zeke didn't have 11 carries. He had 11 carries.
Context. It's context. When was he getting those 11 carries?
It was a close game throughout. It wasn't like it was a no blowout situation at the end of the game when they was running the clock out.
What were the down and see? Now we would have to watch the game again. What's the context of the 11 carries? What was the down and distances?
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Wait, I'm gonna ask. I got you. Hold on. Go ahead.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in
It has
China?
nothing to do with it. What you talking about?
Keep going.
Are you trying to say it was at the end of the game with 10 seconds left and they was just running the ball out? Like, come on, Q. That's not the truth.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, y'all act like I'm tripping with the whole everybody getting. Go ahead.
You are tripping.
Go ahead.
Why?
Go ahead.
But I'm saying,
listen, you want to know what the context is?
Go ahead,
He was
C2.
11 for 33 for 3.0 yards, bro. 3.0. That's what the context was.
But he's also going against the Bucs defense. Yeah, like that defense ain't elite.
This ain't the first time he didn't play like that.
But
It's not
Quan,
the first time he
okay,
played
so
like that.
all right, but all right, bang, here we go, boom. Ezekiel Elliott at one point was considered top 3 back in the league.
Yeah.
Not far removed, right? Not far removed from that place. He hasn't given you anything to write home about in a while, bro. It's been a cool minute since you've been like, "Ooh, Zeke went out there. Get a ball to Zeke." We ain't seen a lot of this, B. Ain't been a lot of this.
All right. So then, like I said, I don't think he's the same. So I'll agree with you that I don't think he's the same as he used to be. But I don't think he's done. I think he's done in Dallas, though. I think Dallas is going to trade him after this year. That's my.
You'd be crazy to pay for it too.
Somebody gonna pay.
Is it 2 of me?
There's 2 of you right now.
How? Let's take this person out. I don't know who this is. I'm here. I'm back. Wow. But anyway, yeah. Somebody
He
said
was so offended he had to show you twice.
it made me so upset I had to tell you about it 2 times. Look, but no, yeah, I just think that
Juanito was right.
How was what? What did he say? Vita Vea is a force for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying when you are the upper echelon of running back, when you are, the Ezekiel Elliott's, the Derrick Henrys, those guys. I would take it I would take offense. I'm playing running back, right? I would take offense that if we threw the ball 58 times.
But that's what I'm saying. I take offense to it too. Like you said, it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't like they were getting blown out and they had to throw their way back in the game. It was back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put some. Let me put some game. So Quan, you're not wrong in a sense of for instance, I don't really trust the Bucs secondary, so I would love to throw it against them quite a bit. Right? I think they're still young,
and they lost Murphy Bunting early.
So exactly. So I understand manipulating that and throwing the ball more. My point to you is late in the game, when you had that opportunity, you needed to chop some time up because you don't want to give Tom too much time, which is pretty much what happened. That's when you're supposed to rely on a back like that. And I just didn't see it enough in the spurts that I did check it out. And I think that could be a telltale sign, or it could just be McCarthy not, handling the game accordingly. So, but I will say that, the last, I'd say 2 seasons at least, Zeke ain't looked like the Zeke from before. And we've been talking about this for 2 seasons now, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's the same. He's going to show something.
Dude is making close to $20 million next year. He's at $18.2 million next year for a running back.
He's getting cut.
I think he's done in Dallas, but I tell you who also needs to be cut. That if you're gonna cut him because of production, you might as well cut DeMarcus Lawrence as well.
No, because of money. You heard about how Jerry Jones sat T.O. down and drew on the table.
So we gonna thank him because of money.
This is the Cowboys. This is the money we need. This is what we're paying you. We're going our separate ways.
All right, so let's look at this game. All right, last game on the docket: 49ers versus the Lions. 49ers won the game 41-33. Led with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. A little bit 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Led 41-17. The Lions made a comeback, and we ended up holding them off, winning the game 41-33. For sake of a rant, I am going to defer to you all to start this topic, and then I will join in a bit after you all. But I can't start this one because I won't let go.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll go.
I promise. Wait,
You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Quan. You in and out.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. No, I don't.
All right, pass the ball to me. I got you. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch much of this game, but maybe fortunately I didn't watch it because there was quite a few things that bothered me. There were some inactives that I was questioning. There were some moves that we made that I was questioning as well. I do understand Ayuk had a hamstring injury. Trent Sherfield definitely pushed him during camp, so I definitely understand that and not disputing that. Thought it was interesting when we chose to use Trey. I liked it for the most part. My first disappointment, Mostert, 2 carries, and I haven't seen what happened on that second carry, but how did it lead to you doing what you did to your knee? If you pay attention to training camp and everything that happened, he was wearing a brace the entire time, claimed he didn't have any type of injury. I'm not sure if that's the same knee, but if it is, he definitely had something and was trying to manage it this entire time. And then it got to the point where it was too much. But with that said, next man up, Elijah Mitchell comes in. He looks solid. But very interesting that Trey Sermon wasn't available for this game. He was a healthy scratch. I thought that was telling as well. And then looking at Kittle, solid game other than the muff at the end. Need better in that situation, right? Need better there. Offensive line overall, I thought played pretty well. Debo, good game until he let up at the end with that fumble. Jimmy G overall played a pretty good game. I watched the play again. I personally think that the pass made sense. Not a great pass, but it made sense.
Which one?
To Debo, the 79-yard touchdown. Just based off of where I saw Debo and the DB and everything, it just made sense for him to put it in that space. But whatever, we can agree to disagree. Defensively, definitely disappointed. We were getting chopped up in the middle. I don't know if that was because not having Kinlaw, but disappointed to see. Swift is not a bad running back, and Williams is a pretty solid running back. But to get chopped up the way it was getting chopped up, that bothered me. Especially as a running back, you take pride in, and seeing that, and you just like, this cat ain't good enough to be chopping me like that. So that was frustrating. But not mad about the linebacker play. Fred was all pro again. Greenlaw played well. He got injured with a growing injury, so hopefully that ain't bad. Al Shahir, I like him. I think he played okay, filling in. Still got some work to do. He's always going to give up a little something. This is going to break my heart. JV going down. Man, that was tough. That was tough to see and to hear about and all that. You need E-Man on the field, so hopefully he can get back. Thank God you got Josh Norman. Demo Lenore, very proud of that young man, had the most snaps and played well overall. I actually think Jaquiski Tart looked pretty damn good, personally. And in the spurts that I saw him, he made some laps too, for sure. Okay. Jimmy Ward, not his best game. Not his best game at all. A little antsy, a little off in that sense. The communication wasn't there. And then Robbie Gould, I'm extremely concerned about. So that's the game in a nutshell for me. It was good to get out there with a win, but very costly because of everything that transpired afterwards.
All right, so here we go. I'm gonna jump in here now. Interestingly enough, I think that let's put Quan back on. Quan having some technical difficulties. Quan, you want to jump in before I go?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for Love Family. My phone been tripping, so if I log off again, this might be the last time y'all see me because sorry, the second time I had to do this. But real quick, Brandon Ayuk, I don't know what's going on with him. I think it was Juan in our group chat just said he might be having off the field issues. Maybe, but Kyle Shanahan did say after the game that other receivers in that receiver room were just playing better than him.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not good with dealing with adversity as far as like being the man and not being the man. It could be who knows what it is, but you got other receivers he's saying is better. He also said Elijah Mitchell and Mick Hasty played better than Trey Sermon.
Yeah.
So he's a healthy scratch. He'll probably be a healthy scratch again, especially seeing how Hasty and Mitch.
He'll play now because Mostert's out.
Oh well, yeah. So he's only playing due to technicality. He's not really
right.
Anyway, so you have that. Debo played well. Debo's problem is health. So if he can stay healthy, he's gonna do great things for you. I like the way your that one linebacker y'all got, the one who has the brace on.
Azeez Al-Shaair. Go ahead.
Yeah, he looked really solid. I think at one point he made like 4 straight tackles. It's crazy. He did good. D Ford also needs to get cut. I don't like him.
What?
I don't like.
You didn't watch the game. You didn't watch the game.
No, I
didn't watch the game.
I did. I don't like him. I really don't.
That was like you drafting Derek Carr with your second pick in fantasy. That was equivalent.
Hey, it made sense. I was losing until that last Derek Carr touchdown. So now I won my game. Now with Derek Carr being now. Anyway.
That was terrible. That was just a terrible take. Go ahead.
It was. I'm not saying he didn't do anything. I'm not saying he didn't do anything.
It was bad. Saying, I don't want to hear it anymore. Go ahead.
I don't like D4.
D4 don't like you.
Okay, well look, you go ahead and have D4 jump on sides again, like he did in that game too. Anyway, he gonna be the reason for your downfall. Anyway,
he was a reason for yours too.
He sure was. I'm very pleased with the way Jimmy played. I don't care what nobody tells me. I do think that Jimmy having competition behind him this offseason makes
100%
made you play better. I've been screaming that all my life. Stop giving these quarterbacks the job just because they're a high pick. Stop giving any position to run because they're a high pick. It don't matter. And as long as he keep playing like that, Trey Lance won't see the field as the starter or for the majority of the snaps.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy's pretty much playing for another team's bag. He knows this is his last year as a Niner. So if I can go ahead and kill it and get a bag, then it'll be fine. Like I said, D4 was doing fine. I just don't like him personally.
Yeah.
I just don't like him. I don't like that he always jumps off sides. I don't like that he has mental errors like that. I don't like it.
Yeah. All right. So this is okay. Here we go. My turn. Bang, bang. Niner gang. One thing that you said, and you said as well, CT, that you guys both touched on that has endeared me even more to the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch 49ers, is that if you are balling, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in practice, if you're showing out in preseason, they're going to reward you. It's not a situation where if you're a name, if you're a draft pick, you automatically get it. No, they're going to give it to the guy that's playing well. There's this whole thing coming out, and even I just see John Goodman said he's having hamstring issues, and they were using him as a decoy. No. Is he having hamstring issues? Yeah. Did he have hamstring issues? Yeah. But the reason why Trent Sherfield played more than Brandon Ayuk is because he's been playing better than Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
Absolutely.
Simple. It's that simple. I love the fact that, Trey Sermon, here he is, 3rd round pick, 2nd round pick, whatever he was. They're like, yeah, okay, cool. But Elijah Mitchell's outplaying you. So he's playing. I love that type of putting their foot down, you know what I'm saying, making sure that they're saying the best guys are playing. It isn't a situation because you're the draft pick or you're the name or you're the contract that you're going to play. I love that about them because what it does is that it takes the onus out, or it takes the onus off of the name and puts it on the production.
The entitlement.
What are we doing? Or were you playing football or what? If Jimmy would not have responded to Trey Lance being there the way that he did, Trey Lance would be playing. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're setting a precedent that says, if you want to be on the field, show me. And I love it. I absolutely love it. One thing else I will say about this is Jimmy Garoppolo played dang near his top 3 game as a 49er. Straight up like that. His completions were spot on. He missed on a couple, but when you talk about completions over 15 yards or more, most in his career, played really, really well. Now, the one you're talking about, CT, he closed his eyes and threw it and was like, Debo, please. When Debo had that 79-yard touchdown, CT was arguing me up and down, talking about, it was placement. He wanted to place the back shoulder. Nah, he underthrew it. Debo made a great play on the ball. It when that man scored. Also, a guy I want to highlight, Elijah Mitchell. We talked about him a bit earlier. How about the fact that Elijah Mitchell comes in, right? Boom. Raheem goes down. Raheem, was 2 carries for 20 yards? He was averaging 10 yards a carry when he goes down. Goes down. Here comes Elijah Mitchell. What does Elijah Mitchell do, you guys? How about Elijah Mitchell comes in, balls, and what does he do? The most rushing yards by a rookie in game 1 that is a 4th-round pick or higher since the merger. Fun fact, he had 107. 104. Fun fact, the previous record holder had 97. Who was that? Alfred Morris. Who was his OC at that time? Kyle Shanahan. Who was his running back coach at that time? Bobby Turner. Interestingly enough, here we come. Elijah Mitchell showed me one thing that he showed me that is the most important factor for a running back, or the attribute of running back that I look at. Fell forward often. Rob, what's going on, bro? We talked about the Raiders a little bit earlier. You missed it. Dang, come back next time. Sadi's on. How you doing, Sadi? But we let Davis go, and he was balling in the preseason. Davis.
Can I ask a quick question about that?
Who said Davis?
So
Davis? Oh,
wanted to start. He wanted to start.
He ain't talking about Ha. He can't even talk about Ha.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping. It's a different name. Yeah, me thinking.
Oh, Ha. He did say, but we let Ha Davis. Well, I guess that's what he's talking about. Ha. No. He had 1 pick, and other than that, it was trash.
No, but why? But he wanted to start for the Niners. That's why he didn't stay with us, and then he goes to the Raiders. Who are going to practice
because reality hit. CT reality hit.
But you know what? The Raiders offered him the practice squad the first time. He said, "No, I'm gonna go start." So then he went to y'all. Then he got denied, and now he's back because this is the one place that he had a home.
Okay,
right.
Gotcha.
So as I roll down in my soliloquy, I'm almost done. I told y'all I was gonna go last because I had a lot to say about it.
Oh, good.
If you guys rewind the tape, go back a couple of shows ago, I said there was going to be one guy on the defense that was going to be a surprise, that was going to show up, and that was going to be my pick for like surprise player of the year for the 49ers defense, and that was Azeez Al-Shaair. I said that. If you want to go rewind the tape, it's there. Azeez balled out. By far, for me personally. No, not for me personally. If you watch the game, if you watch the tape, you'll know this. Azeez yesterday, context, listen to what I'm saying, guys. Azeez yesterday was the best linebacker on the field for the Niners. Strong statement. But if you watch the tape, I'm just in a nutshell. We're talking about one game. Don't get on here. Oh, it's blasphemy, Fred Warner. No, I'm talking about in a one game sample size. Azeez was the best linebacker for the 49ers yesterday on the field. On top of the fact that the 49ers defense disappointed me in ways that I didn't know I could be disappointed. It was interesting enough to see Jimmy Garoppolo play so well and the 49ers defense play so bad. Chris says, tell CT thanks for the dub. But the 49ers defense didn't play well. I will say this. It was interestingly enough to see one best defensive lineman from yesterday for me was D Ford. If you take just per snap, D Ford was the best defensive lineman per snap on yesterday. He put pressure on Jared Goff, had the sack, had the pressure that Drake Greenlaw was able to get the interception on. D Ford looked well in the sample size that the 49ers allowed him to play. However, DJ Jones all them boys that play on the inside interior, it showed that they had an issue. I will say this. If you watch the 49ers defensive line, especially on the interior, I told you I was going to ramble about it. The defensive line, especially on the interior, one thing that I noticed, they didn't have gap discipline yesterday. It seemed as though everyone was swimming to the outside, wanted to get an outside rush. No one really controlled a gap, and if they were washed. And I also got to say, shout out to Penei Sewell. Did a heck of a job against Nick Bosa. Really made some good things happen. But I will say this: there's this whole I seen Grant Cohn tweet this, and it's this whole thing being said. And I want to get you guys' point of view on this. When JV gets hurt, he says, "Oh God, why are the starters still in there? It's 41-17. Why are the starters still in there?" Cool. I don't know what that was. You back, bro? You good now? Straight. Okay. The whole thing was JV got hurt. He says, why are the starters still in there? Why are the starters still in there? It's a 41-17 game in the fourth quarter, but it didn't fit. You don't take your starters out that early. You just don't. And what we saw is what happened is that when he ended up taking the starters out, right after JV gets hurt, he lets Fred Warner and Jaquiski and them guys play about 2 more plays. But right after that, he pulls them. And that's when you see the comeback happen. Is when the starters on the defense get pulled. Let's not act like it's a situation where they just went crazy. No, he pulled the starters and they made a comeback, as they should, against the backups. But I just felt like, it's this whole thought process of, oh no, if JV, they should have got pulled earlier. That's bull. That's bull. You don't pull your starters that soon. Pat, firsthand keeping starters like we did to Mills in 2015 for sure. 100%. 100%. How do you guys feel about that?
Go ahead, see.
It was in a bad way, though. It was in a bad way. I gotta put that in up there.
So I mean, you heard that from an individual that hasn't played, straight up. So the logic there doesn't make as much sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, "Oh, you need to take him out by the 7-minute mark." How do you know? It could have happened at the 6th, the 5th, the 8th, the 20th, whatever. It could happen at any point. You don't know that. It's right. It's not a decision that he can sit there and blame somebody for, because it could have happened any type of way. What I will say is, if you want to talk about that from a personal training perspective, Mostert, if he's wearing that brace and there was something going on with that knee, that would have been a situation there that they should have managed a little differently. And I could say that. But with JV, to me, there was no indication other than I know he had plantar fasciitis in his heel, which could lead to a little bit of tenderness in the knee and knee plant. You don't have the same bouncing and step. But overall, he was good to go. It just was an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, you don't avoid injuries. If an injury is going to happen, it's going to happen. It's just kind of, the NFL is 100% injury rate. Like it's going to happen. You can't avoid them. And you pull your starters out, and we see what happened when he pulled the starters. So if you pull your starters out earlier than that,
might lose.
What are we looking at? You might lose that game. Quan, you a coach? Do you pull your start? When is it safe to pull your starters? You pull your starters
Never.
on the last. Yeah. Come on.
It's never safe. I don't. You guys coach, or you coach high school. CT, I know me and you right now on the youth level. I think you got experience as well. But at the youth level, I'm only pulling starters to get other kids some love. Other than that, my starters in all day.
Right.
Run it up.
That's a fact. And we see when the starters was in, it was a 41-17 game. It isn't a situation where these guys are running away with it. The 49ers played very, very well to win the game. I also have to give kudos to the offensive line. I feel like the offensive line played decent. I think Jimmy didn't get sacked until the fourth.
There you go.
I think he took his first sack in the fourth quarter. So they played really well. I also have to touch on, I don't know what's going on with Ayuk, but remember, I've been saying this since the preseason.
He ain't look good.
Yeah, I've been saying this since the preseason. Trent Sherfield is worthy. Sherfield is worthy.
For sure.
I'm interested to see how that happens. Elijah Mitchell's going to be good. So we'll see how it goes. It's the field level. Fans were overreacting. I told them it's hard to manage a blowout win. Game was over at half. For sure. And you can't just go out there and just do anything. You have to continue. You know, what people don't understand is that as an NFL coach, what do I have? I have a script. I have a time. I have a script. I have play-by-play. I have something I'm going along with to figure the game out. I can't go and defer to something else just because of the score immediately. I have to kind of settle myself back into what's happening. You don't pull your starters week 1, game 1. You just don't. So, shout out to JV, man. I hate to say it. I think it's over.
Yeah, I feel really bad for him, and I think he knew it as soon as it happened because you could see him like crying on the field, and then you could see his body just going through it. And then when he got up and walked away, you can just kind of see him crying, and so I think he knew as soon as it happened. I think he knew. I thought it was going to be his Achilles because
that's what I thought.
He has some plantar fasciitis, which that's tugging. Excuse me, that's tugging on your heel. So I thought it was going to be his Achilles, but it's his ACL. Which, this is going to be his fourth ACL? Fourth ACL?
I think it's his third. It's his third.
Third.
Last year was Achilles. Year before last was Achilles.
Okay, yeah. I feel bad for him, and also I feel bad for Jeff Okudah. Again, season ended with.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that happen.
When a coach pushed him on the bench.
Yeah, maybe he got benched because of that.
All right, so yeah, hey, let me just, and I promise we're about to end the show. I promise you guys. But that coach is out of line.
What?
He out of line.
No, he's
out
not.
of line. As a grown man, as a grown man.
So what?
Bro. Nah, bro. You talk to me like that as a grown man.
Pat.
Jeff Okudah, no. You can clearly read Jeff Okudah's mouth where he says, "Okay, coach. Okay, I got you."
He wasn't only saying, "Okay, coach." Don't do that.
Are you serious? Watch the tape.
You watched the tape. I seen the coach yell.
What was he saying? What was he saying, Quan? And he was saying, "Okay."
All right.
And Jeff Okudah was saying, "Okay." It got so bad that Jeff Okudah was saying, "Okay," that the teammates have to come and grab the coach. It was like, "All right, bro." He's saying, "Okay." Like, chill out.
I saw the teammates tap Jeff Okudah like either saying like it's good, bro, or bro, just listen. I saw the teammates tapping Jeff. I didn't see no teammates grab the coach. I saw the teammates tapping Jeff.
Yes, they did make up, Chris. I'm talking about the initial interaction. If that initial interaction happened with me, first of all, they didn't. Quan, you're not telling the truth. Let's talk about that part.
How that went.
Yeah, you're not telling the truth.
All right, so let me add this context. Hold on, before you finish, I'm gonna add some context. Do you remember when Jeff Okudah was coming out in the draft and he went to the press conference and the dude said, how are you gonna do in the NFL with those pass interferences? He was like, "What pass interference you talking about? Check the tape. I had a pass interference call 2 years. Remember that?"
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, CT remembers that. So clearly, he's a very overly confident guy, right? So we don't know this. I could be wrong, but I could be right. If he brings that attitude to the Lions, he could also be the same way with his coaching staff. Like, bro, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Y'all tripping. And this coach put him in his place. Because, bro, if you was doing your job, why are you the second overall pick and I ain't seen
no bro, your veins is bro. Your veins is popping out. You like this. You strong with it in my face.
Because that was his dialogue with the media. The media came at him a certain way, and he answered the question a certain way.
Here we go. Look, I know you guys are players first, but sometimes you got to just come on. I didn't get into it. I just walked away.
This is the thing. Yeah, and now thank you. I was like, nah, coach was strong. Coach was a little too strong for me. But first of all, Quan, we are grown men.
You're right.
You tell me something, I say okay. So what if Jeff Okudah, because Coach was coming strong. Coach even got to the point where he stood over him and was looking down on him, like yelling still. What if Jeff Okudah would have just fired on Coach?
then he would have got. He would have got.
You still would have been wrong.
Nah, bro, I would have fired him.
All I'm saying is this. Look,
on God, I would have fired him.
Look, we're grown men playing a physical, emotional sport. We see players get emotional and yell all the time. Sometimes the coach doesn't. What are you talking about?
That's because Chris is the coach was right in my opinion. That's because Chris didn't mind getting yelled at. He was okay with it. You're not about to just yell at me after I'm saying okay. That's what I said okay. I said, Coach, calm down. I said okay. This is Jeff Okudah. Coach, calm down. I said okay. Coach, I got you. I said okay. Calm down.
All right.
Anything after that point, you got to fight me.
All right, well,
don't come hugging me and trying to kiss me. No, he came and hugged them and kissed them after. And that's the thing. So when Jeff Okudah gives up the 79-yarder to Debo, the next interaction with Coach is a hug and a kiss. What?
And then in the locker room, Jeff Okudah asked for his 5 minutes, and he tore his Achilles.
You got to see me outside, B.
Man.
Nah, y'all crazy, man. It's the Field Level Football Podcast of the West Coast. That's Quan. That's Pat. That's CT. We also don't know the context of their relationship. You're right. I digress. I just don't like it personally. You yell at me like that, you got to fight me. It's just, it is what it is. My mother says you angry. Yes, we're not gonna play in that game. You're not gonna yell at me like that. So
well, yeah. Look, you was the guy who was Hillsdale. That's all I'm gonna say. So you
yeah.
ready.
I've been kicked out of a couple games. It's
right.
fine. It's fine. It's all right.
We know.
It's okay. The Lord is still working on me. Shout out to God. Hey, look. It's the Field Level Football Podcast of the West Coast. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram at the Field Level 1. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter at the Field Level. We do have to say, the Football Podcast of the West Coast is undefeated this week. Undefeated, 1-0. He said he had good coverage. Debo just made a good play. Debo made a good play. Jimmy made a terrible throw. It's the Field Level, the Football Podcast of the West Coast. We here every Sunday night after Sunday Night Football, but only exception is that if a West Coast team is playing, the 49ers or Raiders, if they're playing on Monday night, we will do the show Monday night instead of Sunday night. Got it? But every Sunday night we'll be right here, ready to go, ready to talk football. Make sure that you're tuning in. Make sure that you're talking to us on our social media platforms because we're always there to have great conversation. If you see a great conversation going on Twitter, if you see a great conversation going on Instagram, comment. Do not hesitate to tag the Field Level so we can get in on conversation. We just three dudes that like to talk football. That's all it is. That's Quan. That's CT. Quan, CT. Any final words tonight?
I'd be wrong if I didn't shout out our guy AZ Coda. We didn't get a chance to touch on the Cardinals, but shout out to you and your team. Y'all had a big victory. Kyler looking like the early MVP. Chandler Jones killing it. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Taylor Lewan for letting Chandler Jones have his way with him. CT, any final words?
Week 2 should be interesting, man. Let's see if some of these teams is real and some of the teams, that showed up in week 1 are, as good as they say they think they are. So we'll see, man. It's going to be fun. And we definitely know the context of one thing. We know the context of Zeke running the ball.
It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. Good night.
Raider Nation.
Every week, catch it freshest on your TV. Field Level Football, Quan, Pat, and CT. On the field, running plays for the 3P. And we shine lights, camera, action when you see the team. Pick 6, touchdown when I got the ball. And if you think you in my league, tell them knock it off. Money calling every day, and I just got the call. Reduction over projection, it's in us, we just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball.